Hey everybody, it's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We've got a killer episode today. We actually have two guests with us, and we're going deep on automation and database marketing. And we've got Greg Harrelson with us. We've got Matt Cavanaugh. We're going to talk to each of them. But first, let's bring in the junior grandmaster himself, the co-pilot, Greg McDaniel. Greg, what is up today?
Matt, what's going on, man? Congratulations, everybody. I'm here. What are your other two wishes? All right. So now we got that part out of the way. It's like, don't smile, don't smile, don't smile. But I'm really excited for this, Matt. Matt, we've done two guests. We've never really done the Gregs versus the Matts, and today's gonna be an epic smackdown. The Gregs are gonna take it, is my prediction. So, Greg, I believe you're on my team with this, because the Matts, I just don't think they've been practicing hard enough. I just don't. I don't see it in their faces.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
All right. All right, so Greg Harrelson, officially. Greg, what's up today? It's your first appearance on Real Estate Uncensored.
Yes, man, I'm excited to join you guys, and I just always love participating in these brainstorming sessions and see what I can gain as well as give.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You crush it on Pursuing Results podcast, so I see no reason why you're not just going to dominate this thing.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's because he's my teammate, Matt. He's
there
my
you go.
teammate.
Oh,
Boom.
You can't claim him just because you have the same first name.
Yes, I can. You're claiming Matt because he gets to share the first name.
Yeah, speaking of Greg's appearance on Pursuing Results, so if you go to the Facebook page for Pursuing Results, Greg's clip, where he talks about his takeaway from Chet Holmes' Ultimate Sales Machine, that book, that you can watch that clip there. It's really, really, really good. It's all about leverage. So go check that out. So then let's bring in our other special guest, Matt Cavanaugh. Matt, what's up today?
Hey, what's going on?
So, well, first of all, Matt, to give us just the 60-second bio on who you are, where you are, and what you do.
Okay, yeah, so I am an agent here in Modesto, California, and we're running a small team. So I got started in the business just over a couple years ago, and working hard at getting that life of freedom that you talked about, getting out of the transaction and running a good business.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're taking a real unique approach. So rather than trying to become a rock star agent first and really max out your own personal productivity, you spend a lot of time, even now, on systems and things like that, which is really interesting. So why did you choose to go down that path?
Well, I think one, it's because it's something I enjoy. I got my degree in math, so and we were always solving problems. And so for me, being in the back end, looking at the numbers, looking at what's going on, I always knew, hey, if I go ahead and hire 20 or 30 or 50 people and help make them successful, then I'll be 10 times more successful than doing it on my own, and I can still have time for family and for friends.
So, Matt, can you answer a question for me really quickly, since you got your degree in math? This has been bothering me forever.
Sure.
What is the true answer to 2 plus 2?
2 plus 2? It can be whatever you want it to be, but it's not. It's 4.0, however many zeros you want.
Oh my God. Man, I have a feeling he's actually telling the truth, and he's got me all confused here.
So it only takes one small trick, Greg, to turn yourself into Michael Jackson. So when I was teaching math, I showed the kids that. So if you divide by 0, just kind of in a tricky way, you can do whatever you want with math. So 2 can equal 1 or whatever. So.
That means every time I get my math answers wrong, I'll be like, no, dude, divide by 0. See, bitches?
Yes, that's right. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, try to explain that to your next seller client on a price reduction.
That's right. Drop that 0. Just drop the 0.
All right. So Harrelson, for those of you, the few people that in the real estate industry that might not know who you are, can you let them know in 60 seconds what you do and where you're at and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I'm been in real estate for 23 years, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Also have 2 offices in Charleston, South Carolina, and I guess been playing the real estate game for quite a long time. I really enjoy the lead generation and conversion side of the industry, so spend a lot of time coaching my agents, training my agents on how to optimize systems so we can grow our top line numbers without having to increase the infrastructure so much. So that's just who I am. I guess there's a lot to say. We do quite a bit of business. And our per agent production right now on my team / company is around 30 transactions. So we do a lot of business per person, and it's because of automation.
Mm-hmm. We couldn't do that amount of business without automation. It'd be physically impossible, or you'd go prematurely gray because of the stress levels.
Yeah, I agree. And automation is also critical because technology is becoming such a big role. Just to keep up with where the industry's heading, it requires the agent to automate now. I mean, automation is just critical.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good systems out there that are actually starting to, like I'm employing a company called Firepoint it's really going to help automate. We just went live with them today, and they're going to track all my numbers, just kind of like what Infusionsoft for you guys and everything else, without me having to do all the work. I mean, that's the amazing thing. So I mean, you guys definitely each chose a really incredible path because of an incredibly powerful program, but some of the stuff we're going to talk about is going to be next level stuff. So that I want everyone to know that there are other programs out there if you're baby stepping this thing. But I mean, you guys are like Matt and not you, Johnson. Matt and Greg. You guys are like the grandmasters of like systems, and I'm pumped for people to learn about this stuff because it's so critical.
Cool.
Yeah. So Matt, catch us up. There was one thing I wanted you to touch on just briefly first before we dive into the automation, the database marketing stuff, and that is the ISAs and the VAs that you use. So fill people in on kind of what those roles are and what they're doing for you and what the results are.
Yeah, so we have 5 VAs right now. We have a VA that's doing like our listing marketing, so they're putting pictures on the internet, they're getting marketings ready, they're having conversations on our social media platforms, helping us, nurture those leads along as well through those, and ultimately directing them into our database where they're getting nurtured even further. We have two guys right now that are helping us program some automation for numbers that are coming out of Infusionsoft. So we have some basically live dashboards that we're creating, and then we have a graphic designer that's helping us with graphic design and video editing. So. Okay. That's on the VA side. On the ISA side, so on the ISA side, my brother, he came out of the Navy, so I grabbed him, trained him on expireds and FSBOs, which is where I started in prospecting. And so we have him he's dialing 6 hours right now. He dials 8 to 11 and 3 to 6 because those are the hot times to call. And he's generating about 2 to 3 listings a week. So.
Awesome.
Wow. 2 to 3 listings. Well, 2 to 3 listings a week.
Correct.
Again, like we said off air,
setting an appointment directly on your calendar for you.
Will you sublet him to me, please?
He actually sets. So we also brought on my dad as well. We stole him from his career, and then my dad's the listing agent. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're actually removed. You just built the system, and you've actually already removed yourself from that system.
I did it backwards of what most people say. I removed myself out of listings first, which is obviously not my intent, but. So I do buyers right now a little bit until we get a buyer's agent, but yeah, I'm removed 90% from listings. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, very cool. That's definitely a little backwards from what most people do, but whatever works for you.
Yeah.
All right, so you went out and you started implementing Infusionsoft a couple months ago, and that's what we're going to go deep on with Harrelson because you actually got Greg Harrelson's package. So
correct.
Harrelson, for people that don't know, why don't you catch them up on exactly what Matt got, and then we'll start kind of filling in the gaps and go deeper on the automation side.
Yeah, so with the Infusionsoft campaigns or package, what I've done is I built multiple campaigns for different segments of a database. So an expired campaign, a FSBO campaign, a buyer campaign, a general sellers campaign, and there's some other campaigns that come within a package. But for the most part, what I understand is every lead type, or let's say contact type, requires a different set of conversations, and so the ultimate goal is to communicate through automation, but not communicate in one size fits all, kind of strategy. In other words, I want the communication to feel like it's one-on-one communication versus it's a big giant blast, which is one size fits all, and that's where all the opt-outs and the unsubscribes come from. So I think that's really critical. The other thing is to understand that through the campaigns, the idea is to get the consumer to pull the information versus us pushing the information. So based on their engagement and their click patterns, if they do this, then that would trigger that, right? So it's kind of one of those dances. If they click this, then they get that. That means their click is them pulling that additional email to them versus us pushing a bunch of emails to them that we don't know is relevant to them at that moment. So on the deeper level, that's really what's going on. People call Infusionsoft, they'll call it like a CRM, and I'd say, okay, it's really not like a CRM. But if we were going to call it that, it's an intelligent CRM. It allows you to feed additional things based on their click patterns. So that's really what's going on here. I'm not sure how he's implemented and all that, and I'm sure we'll dive deep into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the philosophy, that's kind of the essence that's underlying behind the content and behind the system. That's the thoughts behind it.
And so basically, you've taken like all the hard mental thought that went into developing this stuff for your team. Theoretically, it comes in like in the package, and then is it all pre-built in Campaign Builder, and it's all done and kind of set up so you can just literally start adding contacts to the campaigns?
Yeah, that for the most part. There's a little bit of setup involved, and Dobbin at Get You Wired, his team helps out with that, and tries to get everybody to a position where they can kind of plug and play. But then from there, once everyone gets used to it, then there's additional customizations that can be made later on. I always recommend get it, start building the database, let it run as is, and then over about 3 to 6 months, then start playing with it. But just get acclimated to it in the beginning. Resist customizations too early on, because you can get bogged down.
Yeah, well, and that's a good segue into this part of the conversation, because Matt, fill us in a little bit on what your experience has been so far, and a few of the areas that you want to kind of fill the gaps in on.
Okay. Yeah. So I got the campaigns. The campaigns are great. The power of Infusionsoft is unbelievable. I mean, and some of the things that Greg was talking about in terms of you send an email out and they click in, and then you get an email with their phone number. Hey, call them. They just looked at this item. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that you're hitting your clients' prospects in real time. So those parts were fairly plug and play. Where we spent a lot of time is we wanted this solution to be everything for us. We wanted a congratulation client email to go out. When an offer gets accepted. I mean, every level of the stage of the sequence we wanted to have automation in. So we've spent a lot of time, and then I know, Greg, I was reading, I think it was in Infusionsoft, like I know you were one of the top award winners for Infusionsoft, and I know there you had shared that you had built out some basically contract to close campaigns, some campaigns for your active listings and for your active buyers. So I was hoping to dive in a little bit deeper at those today. And then another thing I was hoping to tackle was you have a buyer campaign and a seller campaign, but what about the people who are wanting to do both at the same time and they're navigating the contingency section? Have you written campaigns for those? And if so, I'd like to kind of dive into that as well.
Yeah, so we'll go with the last question first. So when it comes to somebody who is a potential seller and they're going to also be buying at the same time, I actually feel like you can run both campaigns at the same time. Instead of creating a third campaign, I actually would run I call it a BLD, right? The buyer lead campaign and the seller lead campaign simultaneously. That's how I do it. So they could be in two different campaigns. The content is relevant, of course, to that specific transaction. That's how I do it. So no, I did not go and blend and say, okay, here's a third one. Quite frankly, I thought that might be a little bit confusing, not for the consumer, but it was confusing me, right? And so, but you know what? You might be the one to figure it out, and I'd even collaborate with you on any ideas that you have. Right now, I don't have it though. That's the answer. Okay. I think you were asking about a seller campaign. So yeah, so I have a campaign for everything. I mean, if I built a campaign probably a year and a half ago because I needed to raise about $30,000 for a nonprofit organization that me and a few friends created, maybe 11 years ago, and I decided I was just going to actually raise all the money by having I have 5 people on my team to raise money for me. I actually built a campaign that consisted of texting and emailing, and I built it on them, and we raised $30,000 in 30 days, and I didn't even make a phone call. So I have a campaign for everything. If I can think of it, I just write a campaign. So I do have a active seller campaign that I run through, and what I've thought through is I've thought through the process. The reason why, by the way, I didn't originally include active seller campaign because I kind of thought everyone would have their own process.
Sure.
But then as I've written it, I realize that now in the future I can release that type of thing because the process doesn't matter. What I know is no matter what the process is, I wrote the campaigns based on different time frames, what a seller's probably thinking at that time frame.
Yeah.
You know, like 21 days into it and they haven't got an offer, well, they're probably starting to think about certain things. Well, and so then I might, on day 21 of a campaign, I might, I know, on day 21 of that campaign, an email goes out to my active seller that says, hey, just wanted you to know, I'm keeping my eyes on your property. I've noticed that there's been some other properties that have adjusted their prices and they ended up getting contracts on them fairly quickly. If you're just kind of curious as to how a different price could impact your net, use this calculator that I've got for you called the estimated net proceeds calculator, right? And I just send it out to them. They then put in, if their price was $500,000 and they put $475,000 in that calculator and then calculate what their estimated net sheet will be, that information gets put into Infusionsoft. I get an alert that I have an active seller that's thinking about that's exploring what their net would look like at $475. So obviously that triggers a call the next day to go out and do a price reduction, and it makes it very easy for me. And I have that going out for 6 months. Actually, it's a 12-month campaign, because at around the 5-month, I'm working on an extension. So if I built it, so if I got an extension, it then continues for another 6 months.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, you had mentioned that. I think it was Frank Kleset's video. I think it was the one that I had seen you mention. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Greg, one of the things I know when me and Matt spoke the first time that he wants to understand a little bit better is how the automation fits in like hand in glove with the agents actually making the calls. So tell us a little bit, like when you teach your agents, when they're dealing with active clients, I don't know how many listings your average agent has, but are they doing like a structured regular communication weekly with their sellers, or and how does stuff like that fit in with the automated emails that are going out?
Yeah, so what I've got, so each agent may have their own system or at least habits for communicating to their active sellers. But the reality is they probably don't do it enough. So I've had to think through the campaigns to, even if one of the agents is calling their seller, that there'll never be a conflict between the information that's going out to their seller. So there's not going to be a conflict there. That's very important to think that through. Now, all of my agents also know what the ones that are activated the active seller campaign, they would all know what's in the active seller campaign. So what they're usually doing is responding to the alerts that are being triggered. Okay, they're usually responding to the alerts that are being triggered in the campaign based on the seller's activity.
Gotcha.
What are the conversion rates for sellers? So they're calling maybe initially, and then as they're alerted, what conversion rates are you hitting on sellers?
Okay, we're not. That was the active seller campaign, my active listing.
Oh, for your listings. I got you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when they're in the listing, they're only calling when they're alerted to call.
Well, no, some of them, they will all have their own habits on when they may be calling. Okay. So I believe the content's created in a way. I believe that, meaning I have faith that it doesn't conflict with any conversations that they would have, but they're also all fully aware of what's going out and the sequences that it's going out in. Okay, so it's not like they're going blind. I mean, they could be reckless and not pay attention. But by design, they would kind of have an idea. I mean, you could just literally chart it on a poster in your office and say this day, this day, this day, this day. That's kind of how it would work. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. But you're not doing anything in the sense of like sending a duplicate or a copy of the email to the agent as well. They understand intuitively. When we're hitting about day 21 of this, I know this email is going to go out around this time, and it's going to say this to my seller, my seller client.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Yeah. So McDaniel, I'll bring you in for a second. So I know you've got you have someone that does a lot of your seller, communication. You have someone to take care of that. Like when do you step in? Let people know kind of how your system works and when you step in versus when your team manager is handling things for you.
my team manager handles pretty much everything for me. She'll step in. She'll put something like this on my desk with a sticky note when I have to take action on something that's needed that I need to handle. Besides that, my job is to do lead generation and put more business into the team. So for like this back end, like what you guys are doing, the systems and stuff, I stay pretty much out of it. That's why I've been like about as quiet as a church mouse over here. Just
I know.
It's very abnormal.
It's refreshing and frightening all at the same time. I don't know whether you're gonna like fall asleep and just like fall directly out of your chair.
His face first right into the mic, just.
That's right.
No, but I mean, the stuff that you guys are talking about is so next level. That's why I'm quiet, because I'm listening and learning and taking all this in, because no joke, yeah, I joke around a lot, but this stuff is ridiculously awesome. If an agent could just for a second wrap their head around how important and how how much business they can grow by putting the systems into place. Like Greg, you built a tremendously awesome system. And it took a lot of time and probably, a lot of time away from your family and other things, but now it's automated your entire life, it's automated your team, automated your company, and things are flowing and you're seeing the return on that. So any agents that's watching this, and you think, oh, well, it's X and Y and Z amount of money, that money will be the best money you spend in your entire life, next to spending time with us on the podcast. But, it'll help you beyond words. So listen to what these men are talking about, right? To go back, rewatch it, take notes, and then go back and binge on it again. You're going to thank yourself for it.
Yeah, and I want to continue getting deep into it just to piggyback on that. Unfortunately, I guess in a good way, our industry went from tracking nothing to tracking ROI, and everyone wants to track ROI, but here's what's lacking. Real estate agents are not tracking ROT. So technology allows you to get a bigger return on your time. See, return on investment, like if I can make X amount of percent, I will never make on an investment a return that would be equivalent or more than the return on my time. And so through automation, it's really about return on time, and then we can reinvest our time into creating more things. That's what I see with technology right now.
Well, and you see the results of it, Greg, because one of the things I noticed, your brokerage is running, 1,500 plus deals a year, and you're personally managing these agents, and you're doing about, 200 plus transactions a year from what the video...
So we should do about we should be a little bit above 2,000, okay, this year. So we're having a really a fantastic year, right? And yeah, I mean, my job is to introduce technology and develop talent. That's my job. You want to know what I do? I introduce technology and I develop talent. That's my job, okay, within my company. And so I have to use automation in order to do that. I mean, when I get a new agent come into my company, the first 6 months of training is all a campaign through an Infusionsoft. I mean, day 1, it's this, introducing them to this person. Day 4, it's here's the scripts. Day 10, you better know the scripts, because on day 16, you got to get script certified. And if you're not script certified, then my assistant doesn't enable you to continue through the training. And then here's a video on this, and here's a video on this. So it's 2.5 months of listing training, and then I think 1.5 months or 3 months, 3.5 months on buyer training. So all of that has to be automated. So even the roll-in of new people into the company is all automated through Infusionsoft.
Greg, have you ever thought about franchising in California? Because I raised my hand.
I hear you.
Because holy crap, that's good stuff.
Well, let's take a step back a little bit and talk about how do you integrate, because we're going to talk about database, and because this is really where it's not just about prospecting, Greg, for you. You're teaching your clients how to build and develop a database. And so I want you to go a little bit deeper into that. Like, where does automation really fit into developing a database? Because you've got the people that come from the technology side that would rather just prospect, throw them into a system, and never have any kind of personal contact with them or relationship. Then you have the 100% relationship people that want to work by referral and relationship that don't want any technology involved. Like, how do you really marry those two things together?
Marry the two things on taking somebody that's anti-technology to get them to actually adopt technology. I don't know
about that. What's just more of what's your approach of developing a real database where you actually have real relationships, and then mixing in the automation to help leverage your time?
Yeah, so there's so many ways to build a database. I mean, unfortunately, everyone tells us they don't have a database. But if they have a cell phone, then they have a database, right? So the first thing is to migrate the contacts out of the cell phone and get them into your database. Now you do that, you may text your friends and say, hey, this and that, but there's centers of influence campaigns. Okay, so, and the centers of influence campaign is definitely designed to go out there and continue to further the relationship with people that are important to you, your friends, your family members, past clients, and whatnot. So there are campaigns to continue to nurture. So what I'm going to say to you in a Centers of Influence campaign is going to be way different. Even the tone is going to be different than if I was going to send you an email and you were just an expired or a general or a property owner that I'm just sending updates to. You know, so it's in the language that we're using inside of the emails. I mean, that's how we're able to continue to strengthen and build on existing relationships, yet do it through automation. Now, gotcha. I want to make sure we're clear here also. It doesn't mean we never have to talk to people again. It just means that, yeah, no, yeah.
Matt, you were so close, man.
We still have to talk to people, but we're just so far ahead in our relationship and our conversations when we're talking to people. You know, it's so easier. It's much easier to convert. I don't know if I answered the question, so feel free to ask it again. But that's what I think you are asking.
We talked a lot about kind of how to manage the active clients and things like that, and how to marry those two things together, because you explained kind of how your agents are handling that. So I was just curious on the lead generation side of it, like how to marry the building of a database, which you explained. You've got centers of influence campaigns. So take me through that a little bit. So is that something that you would help? Like, let's say a new agent joins your team. Do you have a stock center of influence campaign that then you modify? It's already like the structure of it's built in Infusionsoft, and then you're just kind of modifying it for them?
Yeah, good question. So it's a stock template that I do have some merge fields that when we plug in their information into Infusionsoft, then through merge fields it'll customize the content. But but that's to the extent, because the conversation's fairly the same. So an example of a great email in my market, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, is in October. We know that the property tax bills are going to come out. Okay, we just know that every October people are going to get a mailer in their mailbox. That's going to have their tax assessment and the property tax that they have to pay in the next couple of months. Well, so then in that particular campaign, we already know that maybe October 1st, we'll send them an email. Hey, it's that time again. You know, you're probably going to receive in the mailbox the tax bill from the assessor's office. If at any point you look at that assessment and you think that it's a little out of line, if you'd like to give me a call, I can give you an opinion on what your property would sell for. And if you think it's way out of line, I have the documents at hand to help you to appeal your taxes and maybe lower your taxes. So that would be the kind of thing. So it really doesn't matter if you got one personality versus another personality. That has a value in the marketplace for your centers of influence.
Yeah.
That's really is a lot of value. I like that.
And do you care, or does the system parse this out for you in terms of, let's say, I mean, you've got, however many agents in Myrtle Beach, chances are someone's in multiple people's database. Are you separating that out by specific people in Infusionsoft being associated and being owned by a specific contact on your team so that they don't get that same email from multiple people?
Every contact has a contact owner.
Perfect.
Every contact has a contact owner, and it's not allowing us to send duplicates.
Okay. That's awesome.
That's what's happening. That's
Good
what's
deal.
happening.
Another thing, Matt, that we're doing in terms of going back to the centers of influence, one of the big things is staying in touch every 90 days after the sale, or if you lose contact. So we have emails that go out, but we also have text messages that come automatically, and they're just simple. Just, hey, thought about you, or hey, this, that, just real generic, the way that you would say it. And that a lot of times that just gets the conversation going, and then you could just carry on there from text. And those are built out automatically through Infusionsoft. And then we even have some logic in there where if we connect with them through text or email or call, it'll update the day that we connected with them, so it'll run at 90 days from that date. So, say we sell their house in March, and they contact us 2 months later just for whatever, it won't send it out until 3 months from that point of contact.
Gotcha. Very cool. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Matt, one of the questions that you had was how do you test some of these, especially like the active seller or active buyer campaigns that we talked about earlier? Is how do you test that stuff out without pissing off your current clients, basically? So,
Right.
Greg, can you go into that a little bit deeper? Like, how do you go about testing your campaigns in Infusionsoft? Do you set up dummy accounts? Do you have real people and put them through the campaign? Like, how do you test all this stuff out before you turn it on and turn the switch on to actual live clients?
So I'm assuming that you're testing, where the testing is to make sure that nothing's broke, like links
Correct.
aren't broke and things like that. Okay, yeah. So that's part of what Get You Wired's responsibility is that they're going out and they're running through the campaigns and they're testing and testing and testing. I'm not personally doing it, but that's what Dobbin's team is doing, who's kind of programming the apps. They're testing it and finding all the weaknesses. They're clicking through everything and whatnot and fishing out all the things that are wrong, correcting them before we launch and before it actually goes into my application or they put it into anyone else's application. So they're running tests on it, a couple weeks of testing. Where they're doing it right now. They're testing and testing some new things and vetting it out and seeing what's going on even before I'm putting it in my own application.
Gotcha.
Now, once it gets into my application, then then it's clone away.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
So you're still using Get You Wired to test the app for you as you make changes and developments.
Yeah, well, what I'm doing is I'm constantly developing new things. I mean, I've got, like, we're just beginning. I mean, what I'm doing now is nothing compared to what I've got in my mind and what we're working on. So we're integrating the blend between Infusionsoft and social media. So like day 22, this goes out to this buyer, right? Or if all expireds are going to get on day 22, they're going to get this one email, and this is kind of a hypothetical, this email. And then if they click on this particular video, then 2 days later a Facebook ad's going to show up. And it's not going to be the same video, but it's going to be consistent with the messaging. So now they're in their email watching this video on YouTube. Next thing you know, 2 days later, they're like, here's Greg Harrelson over here in Facebook. Eventually, we'll get to Instagram. So I'm actually creating Facebook campaigns that lay on top of the current campaigns that we have in Infusionsoft.
That's
So
insane.
now,
That's
so
awesome.
this is where this is going. I mean, this is, yeah, Greg, I know. Don't worry, man. It's okay. You can get a drink after we're done. I just saw that look. It's like, what the hell?
I just blew a gasket.
And so wait till you see what we're building and working on with big data
Yeah.
and scoring.
Yeah.
Because now scoring is going to dictate the campaigns that are being kicked off.
That's right.
Scoring is not only campaigns within Infusionsoft, but also social media campaigns, and we can go as far as we want with that. We can go text campaigns, we can go mail campaigns. So, yeah, we're just beginning. This is just getting fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
our family got started a number of years ago in predictive analytics. We hold the patent for anything predictive analytics related to real estate, and when we got into it a number of years ago, we were so far ahead of the curve. No one had any idea what we're talking about. My father, the grandmaster, he's like, I wonder how I could predict who's going to be making a move in the marketplace. But with the Infusionsoft and what you're putting together, with high-end algorithms and analytics, I mean, it's literally, instead of shut the F up button, it would be the easy button, which Matt, I'm not going to push.
Yes. Yeah, because what we can do through Infusionsoft, we can measure real engagement, and we can marry that with actual analytics and big data, and now we really got something to work with, and then we can trigger all kinds of action steps and campaigns off of what comes up.
Yeah, it's literally fishing with dynamite in a barrel. That's exactly what it is. There's no more running around like a chicken with your head cut off. It's just.
And I'm writing those campaigns already. Like I wrote one of those campaigns. It's not something. It's like I wrote it and drew it out, but I'm way far from launching it. I'm just saying I'm mentally, that's where I am now. Is I'm actually working on those types of concepts.
Yeah, and we're kind of branching out. We're focusing heavy on the dialer. So one of the first things we did was we picked up Fix Your Funnel, which has the dialer integrated with Infusionsoft, and then we're kind of expanding on that concept. And then we're building out live dashboards for our ISA, so in real time they're seeing. And the big thing, too, is having a dialer that is connected to a CRM that can run automation. So, for example, like when Eric, my ISA, makes a call, we also have a Spanish-speaking agent because my brother doesn't speak Spanish. He can literally click a button, and that information, that phone number we're working on, even that live call, will be transferred automatically over to our Spanish speaker. So there's so much, so much automation that can be run off of your ISAs on top of analytics that we're trying to exploit right now too. So really cool. Yep.
We're about to integrate 5.9, which is another system. Yes, we're getting ready to do 5.9.
Wow. Yeah, what is that?
5.9 would be a dialer. It's a dialer assist. It's way more than a dialer, but it's a. Every one of my company will be using a 5.9 line, which is going to be our telephone or our dialer will be fully integrated with Infusionsoft. So as soon as they get off, they're talking to somebody, that I could be talking to you right now and just click a button and automatically activate a campaign in Infusionsoft right there on the spot. So we're gonna so all of our telephone numbers are uploaded into 5.9. So I might have hundreds of communities already uploaded into 5.9. So we can manage do not call. We can manage all these different things in this one system. So I can have all my agents calling at one time, and yet at the same token, there's no more data entry. The data's already in there. The contact's already in there. In 5.9, so when it becomes some sort of lead, we just push it into Infusionsoft through automation, and then also kick off campaigns just in real time. So that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, because you've talked about your system for how you guys, and maybe this is before the dialer integration stuff, but like your agents have like a sheet that they just fill out, they throw it on the floor, they gather them up at the end of the day or the middle of the day or whatever, and give them to your staff, which is a great system, but it's essentially a stopgap measure because the technology wasn't there to just push the information where you needed it to go, right? You had to have humans intervening and entering the information, so that essentially that will go away, right?
Yeah, that's going to go away quickly, and I'm sure it's already going away for you. That's Matt that's doing the fix a funnel.
Yeah, and there's some unbelievable technology that exists and is being built. One of the things too is like the pre-call voicemail. So our call lists are automated. So basically, when people are going through a campaign, if they click on something, they go into the call list, and so like the ISA no longer has to gather call lists. They're prepared automatically based on the activity happening in the campaigns. We can send out pre-call text messages. If they respond to those text messages, it applies tags and moves up the call list. So let's say you had 300 circle prospecting calls. You send out 300 pre-texts. 20 of them respond. Those 20 are now highlighted on the hot list for calling, as opposed to the 180 that didn't. So
Matt, quick question for you on that one, and Greg for this. How is that going to be compliant in regards to the automated text messages out to cell phones and calls out to cell phones? Have they already opted into something so you're exempt from those laws?
Yeah, well, there obviously, as you mentioned, there's a lot of laws regarding that. So the biggest thing, obviously, with dialers is, as far as I know, is the single line aspect. And then with text messages, you have to have the proper opt-ins. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I use Real Geeks, as my platform to generate a lot of buyer deals. Mm-hmm. And so every time now that we get a Real Geeks lead through our website, it's an automatic opt-in for text messaging. It's actually, Jeff Manson built that in as a disclosure, so they are opting in right there. So we've got it on the website side through the capture. They're already coming in, and so they're text compliant right there. But I'm actually very, very careful about text messaging and blasting. I'm not doing a lot of crazy blasting and things like that because of compliance issues. Mm-hmm. I'm staying away from that, but I'm getting 400 leads a week through my websites. Good so Lord. I mean, there's 400 people a week that are opted in for text message. I have plenty of people to text, and so that's where we's going with it.
That's impressive.
That's crazy.
Absolutely impressive.
So I have to give a shout out to Mike Holbrook, who's watching the show right now. He says, first of all, his first message is, I'm going automated with index cards.
Yeah.
Next thing he says is you need an engineering degree to be in the business now. But that's what's interesting about all this stuff is Greg, you pointed out that this is your job. Like, you're sitting up here, and your job is to bring the technology and the business systems and stuff to your agents, so they don't have to think about this stuff. So like this is not something that you implement as a solo agent. Not that you couldn't set up some simple autoresponders and things like that, but I mean this is all you think about. This is, I mean, your entire job is making it easy on your agents so that you can scale this across a whole organization and have everybody doing the same thing and running the same system. So that's kind of the purpose. Like you're putting on all that hard mental thought so that your agents can actually work faster, do more deals, and work less time.
Yeah, and I'm investing R&D dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm investing dollars, and things are failing, and things are succeeding. And then the ones that when I prove a concept, I talk about it. But I don't talk about anything that you'll never see me promoting something that I am not actually a user of. I don't have affiliate arrangements with a bunch of things just to make affiliate commissions. Everything that comes out of my mouth, if I say, hey, you ought to consider this, it's because I'm using it. And I probably have been using it for 6 months to a year, and I've already proven the concept before I uttered the word because I don't want to ruin my reputation.
See, I respect that more than you know. There's an individual that a lot of us, we all know who this individual is, and this person, touted that they used a certain system. I bought this individual's system based upon what they had said, and then I learned through back channels that this individual never uses it, never has used it, and would never use it. He was just getting a fat, affiliate commission checks off of everyone when he was selling. And at that time, we were spending a couple of grand on this thing, and it ended up being complete bullshit. And so, mad respect to you for standing by what you do. That's what this industry needs, more people like you that are standing up and actually using what they're saying and then backing up with their results.
Yeah, I've got the numbers.
I got it.
Yes, you do.
I've got the numbers. I know if it's working or not.
All right, so Cavanaugh, let's go back to you and make sure that we got all of your issues addressed. So we talked about the active listing stage, the active buying stage. We talked about the price modifications a little bit, so we understand kind of mentally how that fits in and stuff like that. We talked about the expireds and FSBOs a little bit. I know you were curious on whether you could or whether Greg would recommend like combining those or having a campaign that might work for both. Is that right? I know we talked about that on our first call. Is that still a concern, like combining expireds and FSBOs into one campaign?
No, we have them separate, and we utilize that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So, what's the next step for you, Cavanaugh? So, now that you have kind of some of the answers to your questions, what are the next things that you're working on implementing in the whole process of like making Infusionsoft the center of your business?
In terms of so far, we've been using Greg's campaigns. We've been kind of adding and experimenting with that as well. Those are working well. We've already had come list me calls even in the 2 months that we've been rolling those out. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I love it. I love it.
In fact, we're going to go list a $460,000 property on Friday. So that's going really well. We're taking our internal processes to the next level. So, like for example, when he's not on the calls, he's building out some of the training. And so we're building out training for each. We're basically trying to recreate, Greg, what you're doing when you train agents and when you train all the staff. And we created a couple 100-page binder on our contract to close, what we wanted to say, how we wanted to say it. So we're going to be implementing that in the campaigns so that basically as much as possible we're automating the contract to close process, the marketing process. For example, we put our listings on social media sites, etc. We're going to automate a list of links that go out to the clients. Here's where your property's marketed. So as much as possible, internal processes are our next step. So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, So, and I commend him because here's the thing that you're doing, and you're such on the right track. Is we spend a lot of time figuring out how to use automation to generate generate new deals and generate leads and top of the funnel type of conversations. But I think it's also critical that we move forward and we use automation to add additional value and create a better customer experience. And that's what seems like where your mind is with that right there. Mm-hmm. And we know that comes back to fill the top of the funnel again in the future. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just solid. So, I mean, that's a great job. And I'm doing the same thing. Like a new release that I just released is the Adopt a Buyer program. And I've been using the Adopt a Buyer campaign for a while. I just released it. But that's where, we're adopting the buyer on the other side of the transaction, knowing that we'll probably serve them at a higher level than their other agent will serve them. Their other agent, after they get the commission, won't call them. Yeah. So I've built the campaign. The campaign goes for 5 years, because we know that that person who buys after about 5 to 7 years is when they may start selling again. So I'm trying to earn on day one after the closing with a buyer that I don't even know. I'm trying to earn their listing in 6 years from now.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we used to call that the orphan program.
Yeah, I've heard it called something like that before. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to put that in. It worked so well we quit using it.
Yeah.
So on the orphan or adopted buyer program, do you notice any kickback from other agents out there because that was their client? I mean,
and more importantly, Greg, do you care?
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's what I haven't. Yes, they probably would feel like it's wrong, but here's who I care about. I care about the consumer.
Yeah.
And I care about, you know, doing the right thing for the other agents, you know, in my market. I don't want to do anything that's breaking rules and whatnot, but I care about the consumer. Mm-hmm. And the consumer needs to be taken care of. And listen, my script is this, or it's not my script, but the staff script is this. It's like, you know, hey, Greg, it's Greg Harrelson with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. You probably don't know I was the listing agent, you know, when you purchased your property. Congratulations. I do want you to have my contact information just in case you ever find yourself having a question about your new home that no one else would know except the property owner. I've maintained a relationship with the past seller, so if you have this random question that you think you want to reach out to the seller, just give me a call. I'll get that information for you.
Wow.
You know, so I'm just saying, hey, like that nobody has that relationship with the past seller, but I do. So if you want to know something that's off the wall about the house, then call me. I can get you that information.
That's great.
And by the way, what is your email address? I want to send you my contact information so you can put it in your file, and that's where it starts.
That's awesome. That is so soft, so light, so easy.
Yeah, but value. Yeah, and that's I wanted to just point this out to everybody that's watching. I mean, that's why when you take it back and just look at things like big picture, Greg, I mean, that's the reason that I think this stuff works for you is not just because of the automation. It's because of a couple of, number one, obviously the experience in the business, but more importantly, the experience in the business filtered through that mental framework of marketing and understanding how to bring value to people and understanding and being able to get into their head and know what they're thinking at various stages. Without that piece, I think the automation potentially breaks down pretty quickly because all the technology bells and whistles and the ability to automate everything doesn't do any good if you're automating the wrong message or even the right message at the wrong time. Like, you still have to be able to get into the mind of the person that you're reaching out to and know what they're thinking and speak the right message and bring the right value.
Listen, you're so on. People ask me, are you just making this stuff up? I said, well, yeah, I'm just making it up. But in the last 23 years, between myself and the agents in my company who I've trained, we've probably made 1.5 million contacts, not dials, contacts. Contacts.
Good God.
Okay, we've made a lot of contacts in our career. So contacts are conversations. If we've had that many conversations, we start to understand what people are thinking about 90 days into the listing agreement because we've had over 1 million conversations. So you're right. It's figuring that out.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's an impressive amount of large numbers.
Yeah. All right. So in the last couple minutes we have left, let's make sure everybody knows how to take a closer step towards everyone here. So, Harrelson, we'll start with you. So, where do people go to learn more about you, connect with you, learn the stuff that you use, and especially more about the Infusionsoft package?
Yeah, they can. There's two things. I've written a lot of blogs on database management and things that have nothing to do with Infusionsoft. They could go to like realestatesalessolutions.com and see all kinds of stuff that I've put out there. So it's realestatesalessolutions.com. Or I don't mind a personal email at gregharrelson@gmail.com. I'm pretty stoked and excited, and I guess I should say I'm very passionate about databases and being able to use automation. So I enjoy, getting emails and maybe pointing them in the right direction. If I get bombarded with 1,000 emails, obviously I'll probably slip up and not, answer one of them. But for the most part, it's a passion that I have. So they just reach out to me. I'm pretty easy to find.
All right, and Matt Cavanaugh, remind everybody of where you are and how to get in touch with you so that they can send referrals to your team.
Perfect. Yeah, we're in Central Valley here in California, Modesto, and if they want to get a hold of me, they can shoot me an email at at teamcavanaugh.com.
Cool. All right, and then Greg, you want to briefly let people know how to do the McDaniel challenge if they want to be the terribly uncool March kids.
Oh my God, it's so fucking true, dude. We are. It is February 21st, and it's probably going to change very quickly, is the next opening of 2017, by the way, guys. This thing fills up faster than you know what to do, but it's an hour and a half to 2 hours of you and me getting together on a phone call. We kick back, relax, have a couple of cocktails, and we're going to work through anything that's stopping you, blocking you, hindering you from getting to the life that you want in the real estate. So if it's mindset, is it goals, is it production, is it prospecting? We're not going to talk about systems. I'll send you over to Matt to talk about systems. And we all know how much Matt likes talking to the public, so that's not going to happen. But no, it's a lot of fun, guys. It's 100% free. Again, I'm going to emphasize that it is free. There are no strings attached. There's not going to be like, and for the low price of $19.99, would you like to put it on your debit or credit card, sir? Questions at the end of it. It's just you and me hanging out. We're going to help you get to that next level. People have been doing it, have been finding great success in it. Just because I've been doing this business for 17 years now, and I've seen a lot of the stuff, like a bunch of the guys on the panel here today. But get a hold of me, guys. Facebook, message me. Do not friend me, please. I cannot take any more friends. So follow me on Facebook and message me there, or call me or text me on my cell, 925-915-1978. Let's book you up, get you going, guys. I really want to see you guys succeed. I do this because I truly, 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 truly love you, and I want you guys to do everything you want and quit that damn 9 to 5. So,
yeah, that's right. Follow in Cavanaugh's footsteps and get out of part-time and go to full-time.
Yes.
All right, so for me, follow me across all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat at Pursuing Results, and make sure to go like the Facebook page for Pursuing Results. You can check out the clips of the upcoming Pursuing Results podcast that launches mid-September officially on iTunes. We will also move over to a new live streaming platform with a lot more live interactivity there, so that's why we're holding off on the release of the new show. But we're counting down to the release by releasing new clips every Tuesday and Thursday for the next 3 weeks until we officially launch the show. So Greg Harrelson's clip is there. You can get Jay Samet's clip there. David Taylor Klaus, where he talks about life-work integration, is up right now, and we'll have a new clip coming out tomorrow. So go like the page on that and check that out. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. This has been fantastic. I think people got a ton of value out of it, and
there's a very light way of putting it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot. That was exactly what I had in mind, going really deep and really practical nuts and bolts on this stuff, so that people understand when they get into something like Infusionsoft, you got to have someone in your corner like a Dobbin Bucket get you wired. We talked to Kim Barber about that the other day. She had another consultant that she mentioned, but having that person in your corner is crucial for the startup phase. And then Greg, you're still using them like every day. Dobbin and his team are still checking stuff for you. So that's Get You Wired. What is it? GETUY. And then get wired. Yeah, Get You Wired with a U, right?
Wired. WIRED.
What, WIRED? Yeah. I don't know why I was starting with Y. Anyway, so go check out Dobbin and his team. They're fantastic. They're awesome at what they do. So with that said, guys, we'll wrap this up and put a nice little bow on this one. And join us back here on Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, guys.
Take care.
All right, thanks.